Okay, hello, welcome back. We have another Super Mario Kart Time Trial One Try Tournament match. This time we're over in Division 1, Group A. And we have a match between Firewaster, the Brazilian world number 12, and KVD, the Dutch world number 1. So this should be an interesting match. KVD, or Carol as I'll probably refer to him most of the match, is a heavy favourite. He is the world number 1 after all. But it'll be interesting to see what... Will he take the play it safe and just try and win as many tracks as he can, since he's in pretty tight competition with Lafongo to win this group, and the winner of the group does get a bye straight through into the second round of the elimination bracket? Or will we see the KVD that goes full swag and tries to take as many tournament records as possible? We've seen some fantastic times driven on most of these tracks already, and there's a bit of infighting going on between some of the players, mostly KVD, Anti-Star and Aaron, over the tournament records on the various tracks. So we start off on MC2. This is a track where if you're going to just be playing it fairly safe, you'll probably end up getting something like a 116 or a 117. Probably more like a 117. However, if you're going full swag and going for long boosts, you can go a lot quicker, but it's a lot more risk. So far, neither player trying for the long boost on lap 1. And by long boost, what you would see is over these zippers here, rather than just riding the zippers straight over, what they would do is they'd hop while they're on the zippers. That hop bounces you into a wall, which bounces you backwards, and you then go over the zippers again for a second time, and it puts you in a very high speed state, and you can drive across sand all the way through this part we're driving through here and come out there, and it'll save a good second and a half or so each lap. We actually did see a long boost there by Carol. However, it wasn't a very powerful one. Basically, the more zippers you drive over, the more powerful the long boost. So the straighter you go at it when you go into long boost mode, the less power you'll have. He did it once, shows the swag. It was enough to go sub 116 and take the opening point. So players will be playing all 20 tracks. Every track they win will get them a point. That point will be added to their points total in the group. And the top 3 players from group will progress to the knockout stages, with the player ranked in first getting a bye to the second round. So every single one of these tracks matter. It's not a first to 11 wins situation, because the group stages are decided on total track points, not match wins and losses. And we see a miss zoom start by Firewaster. That's going to cost about 4 or 5 seconds, and another full stop is going to cost him another probably 2 or 3 seconds. It was near full stop anyway. So we've had a pretty nasty first lap by Firewaster. Carol's first 2 laps not particularly impressive either, to be honest. I mean, they're good, don't get me wrong, but they're not tournament record quality of laps. Because lap 3 was much better. This lap 4 again. Lap 4 is very good as well. So he's really pulling back here, but it's probably going to be a 54, maybe a 55. Oh, squeaks around the last corner just to a 55 low. So it's a point to KVD there, but no tournament record. We've already seen multiple people go faster than that. So Firewaster, I'm not sure what his aims are in this match. I mean, he is really back against the wall against KVD. We've seen KVD have a 20-0 win in his first match, and I believe an 18-2 win in his second match. I think Firewaster, if he can get 5 or 6 wins, would probably be happy. Obviously, if he gets more, he'll be ecstatic. Firewaster's won his first match, I believe, 14-6, and then lost his second match, I want to say 13-7. And that was after being 7-5 ahead. He lost the last 8 tracks in a row against Lafongo. I think more than anything, Firewaster will be trying to avoid this match going 7-1 in the first 8 tracks. 7-1 is the scoreline which we tease Firewaster with constantly. He's a Brazilian karter, and Brazil famously lost 7-1 at home in the Football World Cup back in 2014. A result which hurt the nation. And we see a 59-48 by KVD. And that's enough to take the points, but not enough for a tournament record. He had a bit of a sloppy last lap there. Had he had a good last lap, he very well would have taken a tournament record. In fact, he could well have gone sub 59 had he not had that last lap that he did. So Cooper Beach 2. We say hello to Jarmu's private pool. Let me see if I can get a race thing. So Jarmu has basically claimed ownership of that little water patch there. It's usually only an issue if there's a fish blocking your entry towards it. Jarmu is one of the other 3 players in this group. We have KVD, we have Lafongo, Firewaster, Jarmu, and Yorkshire SMK. I believe that we're going to have the next match in this group is, I think, Chris and Jarmu are due to play. So 57-23 by Firewaster. First point on the board, fantastic. And honestly, 57 is a really, really, really good time on that track. I mean, my personal record, having played this track hundreds of times, is 59.00. So both of these players on a one try just sit down and casually beat my PR. Firewaster by like nearly 2 seconds. That was a pretty special Cooper Beach 2 there. And I'm being told that is a new tournament record by Firewaster on Cooper Beach 2, beating his previous tournament record by half a second. So we move on to the best track in the game, Choco Island 2. It's a very boost heavy track. You generate a boost in this game by power sliding for just over a second and then counter steering. Similar to how you do mini turbos in the later Mario Kart games. You just don't get any kind of visual cue that you're actually generating an empty. You don't get any kind of coloured sparks flying off the back. What you do, however, get is an increase in engine pitch when you release it. So these players are using advanced boosting techniques, or new boosting techniques, as we call them, even though we've known about them since the early 2000s, where you kind of power slide in a straight line by, rather than holding the power slide button and turning continually, you hold it and wiggle quickly left and right, which is why when you see these two players driving in a straight line, you'll see the cart looking like it's wiggling left and right really quickly. And that's because it is wiggling left and right really quickly. Both players are running their finger left, right across the D-pad many times per second. And that tricks the game into thinking they're in one long power slide and allows them to generate boosts while driving in straight lines. And a 105.70, I agree with Kedja in chat, WTF. That is a crazy time. And WTF, for anyone who doesn't know, is what the flip. We're a family-friendly channel here. That is an absolutely crazy time by KVD. Moving 4-1 up after 5 tracks. And I sincerely apologise to anybody who heard my ice jangling in my glass there. It's absolutely melting hot here in London, and I have to have my windows closed because the traffic noise outside is too much. And I chose the wrong day to do back-to-back solos comms. Getting quite thirsty through all the talking. So I'm enjoying a nice Dr. Pepper and ice at the moment. As we've moved on to Bowser Castle 3, sometimes referred to as the Great Equalizer. It's a track which very, very rarely ever goes right. Firewaster there was preempting the hole on the right to not be there when he got there, even though it was, and tried to clip in between the left thwomp and the wall, which is a pixel perfect trick. We saw Anti-Star do it earlier today. Firewaster wasn't able to do it, but we've had speed loss by both of them for a very brief second. Firewaster was back in the lead, but now KVD accelerating away. Both of them getting a pretty bad look on the thwomps. So on the first lap of any Bowser Castle, all the thwomps are in the air and you can drive a nice clean lap. Laps 2 to 5, they're kind of randomly up or down, and you just can't predict where they're going to be, where they're going to come down. You try and go under one and it will drop straight on your head and squash you. It's a bit of a lottery, but it looks like the ticket that KVD is a winner, and he's going to take Bowser Castle 3 with a 134.98. I mean, he had a little bit of issues on one lap, but the other 4 laps are all fantastic. So we've moved on to Mario Circuit 3. This is this Mario? No, this is Mario Circuit 4. Blimey, I'm looking at the wrong track there. Looks like we've had an even bigger desync on the start here, and this is a track where basically, if you can keep it pointed in the right direction and not miss any of your boosts, you'll get a good time. However, not missing any of your boosts is a tricky thing to do on this track, as is keeping it pointed in the right direction. It's very easy to catch a hairpin. This corner here where the carol was going, you can catch that and end up facing the wrong way. This hairpin KVD is about to go around, you can try and do a little too tight. Exactly the same with this one. There's multiple places on this track you can find yourself pointing the wrong way. So I'm going to try and figure out who's ahead and who's behind. So Firewaster exited the hairpin at about 1:13. It looks like KVD is about 3 seconds ahead on the road. Going into the last lap, it's going to probably take facing the wrong way at a hairpin now for Carroll to not win this. In fact, he's looking like he's on for a very good time here. Maybe a 1:36 is this we're seeing from KVD? Oh, nearly a 135. And we move to 6-1. Firewaster will be desperately trying to win the next point to avoid a 7-1 on the scorecard. Let's see. Let's see where we're going. We're going to Ghost Valley 3. Both players are going to be looking to do a platform jump here, halfway down the straight after the first corner. I'll jump off to the right. It looks like you got a bit of an anti-sync there, so hopefully they'll sync you up in the other direction now. So yeah, so KVD is going to jump off to the right here, and that saves a good chunk of time, maybe somewhere between 1.5 and 2 seconds. And can try and do that all 5 laps. It's known as the easiest platform jump in the game, and it's not that easy, I can guarantee you. Especially not that easy to do it 5 times in a row. We're just getting a bit of a restint going on. We see where they are now relative to each other, and we see we have a very tight race on our hands. So neither player having missed the platform jump or made any other big error yet. It's very easy to fall into the abyss in any one of these holes that you're jumping over, and as demonstrated by Firewaster there on his final platform jump. Can Carroll make it around the last corner? 3 charges and MBT, gets a 116. And any Firewaster fans in chat, look away now, because the score is gonna it's gonna say Brazil 1, other people 7. And he's not going to be happy with that. I don't know if SpeedGaming Portuguese are covering this match. If so, look away now. I have updated the score. Sometimes it just takes a little while to go through. If it's not updated in the next 10 seconds, I'll try and add it and re-add it. Let's try that one again. And so it looks like even the scorecard's in favour of Firewaster and is refusing to move up to 7. We're on Choco Island 1. So the hardest part on this is the jump over the wall. It's not particularly hard, but it is very punishing if you mistime it ever so slightly. Because if you don't make it over the wall, you end up facing the wrong direction, stationary, in deep mud. And yeah, that can be very painful. So at the moment, it looks like KVD's had a slightly better Choco Island 1, mostly because of lap 4. Up until that point, it was a very close match. Ooh! Ooh! Oh! It's double gifted! What? Oh, Firewaster still took it. Wow. Those last laps, neither player wanted to win that race. So, I'm going to try and move it to 7-2. It's finally showing 7-1 on screen. I have given Firewaster 0.2. There we go. 7-2. I'm sorry if I broke down during commentary at the end of that race. I didn't expect one of them to fail, let alone both of them. And we're off onto Bowser Castle 1. We saw a tie on this track earlier between Antistar and Arrow. I believe 129.49 each. Might have been 47. And they had to replay that track again at the end. We're not going to see a 129 from Firewaster. Now KVD was saying that both Anti-Star and Aaron were capable of 128s. If there's anybody else in this tournament capable of a 128, it's definitely KVD. It doesn't look like he's going to be getting a 128 on this one though. Let's have a look at what he comes through at the end of lap 3. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a mid to low 129 by KVD if he can finish the race without making any more mistakes. Firewaster really needs to see KVD jumping into the lava to have any real chance of catching up on this one. It's a deceptively hard track this. You have 30 times where you have to jump over lava, 6 times per lap, easy to mistime it. You have the thwomps to avoid, all while trying to take the corners as tight as possible. You get a 129.6 by KVD. And what's looking like a 137 by Firewaster. We'll move Carroll out to an 8-2 lead. But again, that's not going to be a tournament record for KVD. So we're still in the group stages here. There will be 3 of the 5 players from Group A to progress through to the knockout round. The player who wins the group will get a bye straight into the second round. The second and third ranked players will play off against the second and third ranked players of Group B. Group B has now already been decided. You have Anti-Star has qualified in first place, Aaron qualified in second, and Cager qualified in third. Saw Firewaster taking a bit of a dip into the water there. It's hot, I don't blame him. If there was a big pool of water near me, I'd be jumping into it as soon as this race was over. And Carroll looks like he's having... Wow, Carroll looks like he's having a race at the moment. I think he'd like to get a 116. I mean, that would be very, very difficult to do. But let's see how he's coming through here. I mean, he's on pace for a 116. It's very difficult to do this track because it's so easy just to catch a little bit of grass, lose the speed, end up in the water, or take a jump slightly too much. It's this section where Carroll comes out the boost here, then jumps sideways. Okay, he lost a bit of speed, so he ended up playing it safe. But he looks like he's still going to get a 118. Firewaster coming around the final hairpin through the last little chicane, and a boost to the line, and a 139 with at least 2 trips to the swimming pool. I think 3 perhaps. Carroll's out to a 9-2 lead. Just to remind that the group standings are decided entirely on track wins. Doesn't matter whether you won or lose a match, it's the number of tracks that you win that decide the group standings. So we'll keep playing all 20 tracks, and it's in Carroll's interest to win as many as he can. He's currently in a battle with Lafungo for top spot in this group. Lafungo and Firewaster have already played. That match finished 13-7 to Lafungo. So KVD is going to probably be looking to better that result. And at the moment he's on course. Yeah, so only the top 3 in each group will qualify through. There are 5 players in this group. At the moment it looks like KVD and Lafungo are pretty much shoo-ins. A Firewaster is the favourite for the third place in the group, having beaten Jamu in the match 14-6, where it could easily have been 10-10. There were so many races decided by fractions of a second. It was absolutely crazy. So when the highlights are all done on these tournament matches, the Firewaster Jamu match is one if you're planning on going back and rewatching some, or watching some that you missed. That one's a very good starting place to jump in at. So we're looking like we've had a pretty smooth Rainbow Road by KVD here. I think he would have been aiming for probably a 127 high to low 128. Gets to low 128. It's an absolutely fantastic Rainbow Road. This track is incredibly difficult, as Firewaster just demonstrated the fastest line is to jump over the gaps on the corners, but one mistiming and you're jumping into the abyss. That takes us to 10-2. And we move on to Cooper Beach 1. This track has a corner named after KVD. And it's the final corner of the track. It's called Carroll's Corner. And it's so called because he is famous for jumping, or attempting to jump over the deep water, but rather just jumping straight into it. Usually on lap 5 of critical tournament matches. So at the moment Carroll is giving Carroll's Corner a very wide berth. Just driving completely around it and not trying to cut the dog leg at all. This time he goes over the dog leg, maintains full speed. Firewaster went over it, but didn't maintain full speed. This track is really easy to drive when you're at full speed. At any time in SMK, as soon as you're not at full speed, it becomes so much harder to control, because in time trials you're just used to resetting and starting again, so you very rarely actually do drive around these tracks not at full speed. But obviously in a one-try tournament, the option to reset and try again isn't there. A 52.67 by Carroll. It's a good time. I'm sure we'll see much faster than that during the course of a tournament though, with players taking a bit more risk. So we move on to Ghost Valley 1. Another track with a platform jump. It's a very difficult jump to do. We see some players go for it on lap 5, other players don't go for it at all. We saw Anti-Star actually land the platform jump and get a 106 earlier today. And Carroll, with a missed zoom start, has got to be tempted to start thinking about... Actually, if I was Carroll, having missed a zoom start, I wouldn't go for a single platform jump. I would just rely on my opponent making a mistake. And now with what Carroll just did, I don't think there's any tactics now. Just drive around at finish and let Firewaster have the point, because you're not catching up from here. We see an entire lap's difference between the two of them. Carroll should go for it now just for swag, and he does, and he gets it. And that's caught him at 1 second, so he's now only 12 seconds behind. And you should see him go for it again here. And he missed it. And Firewaster got it. Gets a 106.78. Wow, I don't remember Anti-Star's time from earlier, but that has got to be very similar. Because Anti-Star had a bit of a poor lap 1 on his GV1. So you still see Carroll going around, and Carroll finishes with a 133. that's going to take us to 3 points to Firewaster, 11 points to KVD. We have 6 tracks to play, 6 points remaining. So yeah, apparently that was 200ths of a second slower with a GV1 that Anti-Star did about an hour ago. So we move on to MC3. Nobody look at the track picture and think what it looks like. So this is a very difficult, twisty track. It's very hard on the hands if you're trying for PRs because, wow, KVD going for a pipe boost. I don't know if that's swag or disrespectful. It's incredibly difficult technique to do. To be honest, it's probably the only way he really knows how to drive this track anymore. Because he'll have been going for pipe boosts, for PRs. There we go. I mean, it doesn't save a whole bunch, maybe 2 or 3 tenths per lap. It's incredibly difficult to do. And we've seen them bob. They're basically neck and neck again now. Neither one going for a pipe boost that time. Basically we're frame for frame at the moment. Bit of a better boost there by KVD. He's edged out just a fraction of a second. Again, a little bit tighter by KVD, just extending his lead a little bit more. A bit tighter around the hairpin too. That's a better boost this time by Firewaster. But Carroll stretched out another half second or so on that lap. Going for the first corner boost rather than the second. Nice by both of them. Safely around the hairpin. All Carroll has to do is make this last boost and the track says. There we go. That's going to win it with a 1:30.62. Other than the first lap attempt at a pipe boost which went wrong, it was a fantastic MC3 by KVD2. I think he clearly was going for the tournament record there by trying the pipe boost on the first 2 laps. And you can see how much it gained for him on lap 2. Right, we're going to be moving on to Donut Plains 2, one of the nicest flowing tracks in the game. It's one of the tracks where each corner just seems perfectly designed for PAL 100cc. For anybody who knows Super Mario Kart Time Trials, it runs in 100cc mode. The same goes for Mario Kart 64 Time Trials. I believe after that in the later games they kind of moved the speed up to 150cc. So I know in Mario Kart Double Dash Time Trials runs at 150cc speed. But in the first 2 games in the series it runs at 100cc speed. And this track just seems perfectly designed for 100cc. Heavyweight driving, the corners just flow so perfectly one to the other with just that right amount of turn in them. You try to play it at any other speed or with any other character than either DK or Bowser, and the track suddenly becomes horrible. But in PAL 100cc heavyweight, this is a beautiful track to play. And we've seen an early mistake by Firewaster. Carroll so far looks like he's having a pretty clean run. Going a little bit aggressive on the hairpin before the last corner. Kind of had to bail out of it and lost a boost because of that. See how he takes this corner this time. Yep, gets the boost, exit out of it this time. Looks like we're going to see a 128. There's been a couple of little niggly mistakes on this by Carroll, but for a one try this is pretty much about as good as it gets. 128.23. Another excellent race by KVD. Firewaster coming around with a 136. So it looks like KVD had a speed loss on lap 2. I didn't quite catch that. But the rest of the race, 17.2, 17.1, 17.2, that's crazy fast. And we move to Donut Plains 1. A track where we were made to shame a player for not getting a 111 earlier in the week. I believe it was KVD who actually called the shaming. So if KVD doesn't get a 111 or better, then I think we'll have to shame him in chat. Which to me is absolutely crazy because I've never even driven a 112, let alone a 111. So it's looking clean so far by KVD. Clean but not spectacular. This lap 3 looks better. Yeah, that lap 3 was good. It's a nice exit on lap 4. Yeah, Carroll's really stepping it up now these last couple of laps. Oh, this is going to be tight as to whether he can get into the 111s, I think. He's not getting it now. I mean, he was going to get into the 111s, but that last corner was a mistake. 113.5 by Firewaster is another fantastic run, but KVD there was going full out and then just tried a little too aggressive on the last corner. Otherwise, he was heading for probably a mid 111 there, and that would have been crazy. But he got a 112, so shame. And we move on to Ghost Valley 2. This track also has a platform jump, but if we see either of the players going for the platform jump on this one, they're absolute madmen. It's incredibly difficult and saves maybe 0.2 or 0.3 of a second. So platform jump, if you watch Firewaster's screen now, you can see the platform just to the right there. Cuts a very small part of the track. It's probably the laziest game development platform jump in the whole Mario Kart series. I guess they thought we've put platform jumps on the other two Ghost Valleys. We really ought to find somewhere to put one on this one. I know, let's put it where it saves almost nothing whatsoever. And we've got Carroll, clean so far. And Firewaster clean so far, but looking like he's about half a second or so. He's going for the platform jump and he missed it. And Carroll with a sub 103, wowzers. That's crazy, that is. A 112.88, that is... Actually, that is crazy. I don't think, even if Firewaster had hit that platform jump on the last lap, it wouldn't have been enough. That was just absolutely crazy by KVD there. And that's going to take him up to 15-3. Oh, 2 tracks to go. Vanilla Lake 2. This is a KVD special. Anybody who's ever attended the Super Mario Kart World Championships will know that KVD likes to be completely antisocial and sit in the corner with his hoodie up playing this track all night long while everyone else chats and has fun and enjoys the event. Kind of semi-joking there. He usually does it for one night of the tournament. And yeah, when this track is driven well, as KVD normally does, it looks beautiful, but that Michael Phelps thing into the water Means that if Firewaster can keep this on track, then he's got another point. So let's look at the left-hand screen. We want to see Firewaster not jumping into the water. He's through the third lap. 2 laps to go. Little safe. Little safe. Yeah, he's taking it fairly safe on these jumps at the moment. This is the danger jump for him. Catches the water a little but doesn't drown. Still got a fairly sizable lead. Just needs to stay out of the dark stuff. Oh, we got a full stop. He's still got enough. He's still got enough. That's it. Round the outside. That's safe. And that's going to be a point. Firewaster up to 4 points now with 1 track remaining. Let's see if we can remember what track have we not played yet. Answers on the postcard. And it seems we haven't played Bowser Castle 2. The longest track in the game. I think if the players get it all good, they'll be probably looking for something like a 144. But this track very rarely goes all good. The fastest line takes you under or into some thwomps. So players very rarely take the fastest line in a one try. So those 4 thwomps which are in the air there on lap 1. On laps 2 to 5 they can be on the ground. And we've seen a hot bath from Firewaster as he jumped into the lava. And we saw a near full stop by KVD when he hit into a wall. So Firewaster's mistake is probably worth twice of what KVD's mistake was. So he's going to need KVD to come to another full stop at some point in order to catch up. So hopping over those 4 lava jumps at the end of a lap. The last 2 are another tile wider than the first 2, so it makes the timing a bit off because you do the first 2 jumps and then you have to change your rhythm for the last 2 jumps. And you're jumping over the lava because you lose time every time you hit one of those bumpers. So if you hit all 4 bumpers in a row, you'll lose quite a bit of speed. See Firewaster hit 3 of the 4 of them there. So Carroll's making his way around steadily and surely. He had a mistake early on, so we're not seeing any 144s from him, but maybe a 148, 149 if he can go clean on the last lap. Firewaster really needs KVD to jump into the lava here. He's going on the left hand side. It's going to change the rhythm up a little, but he's safely through and gets a 147. And that's going to take the match. 16 points to KVD, 4 points to Firewaster. Firewaster finishes up with a 204. Let's have a quick look at the schedule and see when the next Super Mario Kart action is going to be. Tomorrow night at 5 PM Eastern we have a Division 2 match between Flanders and Meridian Prime. But in terms of the Super Mario Kart action tonight, that's going to be it from us. Wait and see if either player is going to jump in for an interview. Let me just see. Good, mark them as done. So I'm just waiting to find out if either player is going to be jumping in for an interview or not. So while we're waiting on an answer for that, if you look in the bottom right of the screen, you can see some links written down there. We've got mariokartplayers.com/smk, and what that'll do is I'll take you to the Mario Kart time trial ranking site. So There's about 600 people on the PAL leaderboards, which is what we're playing here, and another 600 or so on the NTSC leaderboards. If you want to join the Mario Kart Discord, there's an invite link there. It never expires, so feel free to use that at any time. And the final link, ffsmk.org. That's a link to the Super Mario Kart World Championships website, where there's stats, results, player bios going back to the 2002 First World Championships all the way through to last year's 2019, and along with video links to hundreds or thousands of top-level Super Mario Kart World Championship play, where you'll see two people doing things in Mario Kart that you never thought possible. Okay, seems like Carol wants in on the interview. Let me see. If we can get him in here for a quick 2 minutes. Okay, looks like I can see KVD in the setup area, and I can see KVD now in the live area. Hello, KVD.
Hello, Mole.
So you came out a 16-4 winner. Is that roughly what you thought this match was going to be?
No, I actually expected a 14-6, but yeah, no.
So I wasn't sure going into this whether you were going to be KVD, who wanted #1 in the group, do enough to win every track, or KVD, who wanted to go for as many tournament records as possible. Did you have any kind of battle plan coming into it?
And I think it was a bit of a mix, huh? I usually pick my tracks where I want to go completely.
Yeah, Sub 106. That was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Sub 103 on GV2 as well was.
Yeah, GV2 was also one I had in mind. So I had battle plans for some tracks in mind to see if I could get some nice tournament records, but on other tracks, not so much.
Out of interest, did you have a plan going into Ghost Valley 1?
I did. I was gonna go for a 2 out of 5 platform jump race, but then I missed the zoom start and everything just spiraled down from there.
That was, and then we saw Firewaster actually on that one get his platform jump, and I think he finished 200ths of a second slower than Antistar's platform jump race from earlier in the day.
Still extremely well done. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
really happy to see both platform jumps tonight. That's delighting. The first ones in the tournament.
I see you giving Carol's Corner quite a wide berth a few times on Cooper Beach 1.
Yeah, so the thing if I decide to not cut over the deep water, the thing is that fish is so deceiving. So I just go super wide to not collide with it.
Yeah, sometimes you think, oh, the fish is quite wide, and you go inside it, and actually, no, it's hugging the edge of the water. And sometimes you think
impossible to tell.
You think it's near the edge, so you go wide out around it, and it's actually much wider out than you thought it was. So yeah, either jump the water or go super wide.
That's my strat nowadays. Still got a 52, so it worked out.
Yeah, we were seeing some praise for the 52 in chat. I think I was a bit more critical. Simply because I know, well, a 52 is just what you get if you don't really lose speed.
Yeah.
I'd like to see faster in some of the.
I think if Aaron really nails his race there, you could get a 49 or even a 48 in this tournament. But that's not for me. I don't like Cooper Beach 1.
So your next match, is that scheduled?
I believe not. I think this was no. Of course, Lafango. Yeah, it's not scheduled though. I suspect it will be this weekend.
So that's, given the results so far, that's going to be a shootout for who gets the #1 in the group.
Absolutely.
So, is that going to be priority over swag skills and fast times?
Well, the thing is, if I go for the completely, let's say, risk-free, solid approach, I typically end up crashing more. Because that's not the way I play. So we'll see. I think I'll just use the same mindset as I did against Firewaster.
I mean, if you play anything like you did in this match, I think Lufungo will need to turn on NTSC GP tournament mode winning Lufungo form. You were
Josie
certainly,
Snipes the works, right? Yeah.
yeah, you were certainly very impressive. Large periods of this match, it was probably right up there with some of the best play we've seen, especially early on in this match. Other than that, do you have any last words you want to say?
Well, thanks. It was definitely indeed in the beginning. I felt really good. Same goes for Anti-Star tonight. He was also like smashing out of the stadium in the first half of his game. So if both of us really play that well, hopefully we can meet later in the tournament. That would be nice.
And do you have a apology for the millions of people watching on SpeedGaming Portuguese for making them see a Brazilian with one?
This tournament has been tainted with a lot of 7-1 scores, actually. It seems to crop up every match, and does the score still not work when it's 7-1?
So it refused to go to 7-1.
So again, actually, the people didn't see it. Then.
It sat at 6-1, and then it changed to 7-1 for about 10 seconds before changing to 8-1 or 7-2, whichever way it went. I think it went to 8-1. So
Such a weird bug.
Congratulations, KVD. Good
Thank
match
you.
by Firewaster. And thank you for everybody for watching. That is going to be it for tonight. But like I say, there is a match scheduled for tomorrow at 5 o'clock Eastern between Flanders and Meridian Prime. That's a Division 2 match. So tune in then. But it's good night from me.
Good night.